Emma loved her little farm. It wasn't huge or fancy, but to her, it was the whole world. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting golden light over the fields of tall corn and wildflowers that swayed gently in the morning breeze. Birds chirped happily from the branches of the old oak tree near the farmhouse, and the smell of fresh hay mixed with the earthy scent of soil filled the air. Emma stepped outside in her worn sneakers and overalls, ready to start her daily chores. She always loved mornings the most. Everything felt calm and full of promise. Her parents were already busy in the barn, tending to the few cows and goats they kept. Emma's favorite part of the farm was the chicken coop, where the hens clucked softly, pecking at the ground for seeds. "Good morning, girls," Emma said softly as she scattered feed for them. She smiled when a few chickens came close, curious and friendly, but mostly she wished she had a dog of her own. She'd never had one. Her parents said it was too much work to take care of a dog with everything else going on. After feeding the chickens, Emma wandered toward the cornfield at the edge of the farm. The stalks stood tall and green, stretching far beyond where she could see. She liked to imagine herself as an explorer, discovering new lands in the thick rows. But today, as she stepped closer to the fence, she noticed something strange, a small movement just beyond the field. Curious, Emma squinted into the morning light. There, tangled among the tall grass and wildflowers, was a dog. It was thin and looked scared, dragging one paw as it tried to stand. Emma's heart tightened. She'd never seen an animal in such trouble before. She stepped closer, but slowly, careful not to frighten the dog more. "Hey there," she said gently, her voice soft like a whisper. The dog's eyes, big and brown, looked up at her with fear and confusion. It gave a weak whimper, but didn't run. Emma could see the dog's leg was hurt, scraped and bleeding. She felt a sudden urge to help. But what could she do? She was just a little girl on a small farm, and the dog looked like it needed a doctor. Still, she remembered the kindness her parents always taught her. "If you can't help everyone, help someone," her mom used to say. So Emma reached into her pocket and pulled out the last piece of her sandwich. She held it out slowly. The dog sniffed the air, then took the food gently. Step by step, Emma moved closer until she could wrap her arms around the shivering dog. She pulled off her jacket and carefully wrapped it around the dog's trembling body. The dog, exhausted and hurt, finally relaxed just a little. Emma looked back toward the farmhouse, wondering how she could explain this to her parents. She knew they might be worried or say no, but she couldn't just leave the dog alone in the fields. She gave the dog a small smile. "Don't worry, I'm going to take care of you." That morning, as Emma carried the dog toward the barn, she felt something she hadn't before, a sense of purpose. The quiet farm had become the start of a new adventure, one that would change everything. Emma carefully carried the small dog across the farmyard, her arms steady, but her heart racing with worry. The dog's paw was bleeding, and it limped weakly as if every step caused pain. The warm morning sun felt gentle against their backs, but Emma knew they had to act fast to help. When she reached the barn, she gently lowered the dog onto a soft pile of hay in a quiet corner where the animals usually rested. The dog shivered, tired and wary, but it didn't try to run away. Emma ran her fingers softly through its matted fur, feeling the rough patches and dirt. "I'll call you Rusty," she whispered. The name felt right somehow, simple and warm, just like the dog. Emma wiped the dog's paw with a clean cloth she found in the barn. It wasn't much, but she hoped it would stop the bleeding from getting worse. The dog flinched, but didn't snap or growl. Emma took a small water bowl from the feed room and filled it, then held it close. Rusty lapped the water slowly, his eyes never leaving Emma's face. Her parents had come out by now, curious about the noise. Emma's dad raised his eyebrows when he saw the dog, and her mom looked concerned. "Where did you find him?" her mom asked gently. "By the cornfield," Emma said quickly. "He's hurt, and he looks scared. Can we please keep him for now? I'll take care of him." Her dad sighed, but then nodded. All right, but we need to make sure he's healthy. We'll call the vet first thing." Emma felt a spark of hope. Maybe, just maybe, they could save Rusty. The rest of the day passed slowly. Emma stayed close to Rusty, talking to him softly and brushing his fur as best she could. She found an old blanket and covered him so he could stay warm. Rusty's breathing grew calmer, and every now and then he gave a small wag of his tail. Emma smiled. "You're going to be okay, Rusty. I promise." Later, Emma tried to learn more about dogs. She read a book from her school library about caring for animals and discovered that dogs could be very brave but needed patience and love, especially when hurt. She felt more determined than ever to help Rusty heal. That evening, Emma's parents sat with her by the fireplace. Her mom said, "Emma, it's wonderful you want to help Rusty. Taking care of an injured dog is a big responsibility." Emma nodded seriously. "I know. I'll do whatever it takes. I just want him to be happy and healthy." Her dad smiled and added, "We'll support you. But we have to be careful. Rusty might be scared of people because of what happened to him." Emma understood. Rusty had probably been alone and hurt for a long time before she found him. She felt even more grateful she had noticed him in time. That night, Emma stayed awake longer than usual, listening to Rusty's soft breathing in the barn. Outside, the stars twinkled high above the fields, and the farm was peaceful. Emma whispered to herself, "Tomorrow, we'll make sure you get better." But she had no idea just how much their lives were about to change. The next morning, Emma woke up early, her excitement mixed with worry. She knew Rusty needed help fast, and she was determined to do everything she could. Her parents had agreed to call the vet, but the phone line was busy for a while. So Emma decided to keep a close eye on Rusty herself until someone could come. Rusty lay quietly on the blanket in the corner of the barn, his eyes half closed but alert whenever Emma moved nearby. His leg was still sore, and Emma could see he was uncomfortable. She gently cleaned the wound again with warm water and a soft cloth, careful not to hurt him. Rusty whimpered softly, but didn't pull away. Emma remembered the book she had read about dogs and their needs. "Rest and kindness," she whispered, stroking his fur. "That's what you need, Rusty." Hours passed slowly, and Emma stayed by his side. She brought him small bits of food and water, hoping he would keep eating. The more she looked at him, the more she saw a spark of life returning to his eyes. It was a quiet hope, but hope all the same. Just as Emma was about to sit down and rest, her parents finally got through to Dr. Harris, the town's vet. "He'll be here soon," her dad said with a smile. Emma's heart leaped. She wanted to thank her parents but also felt nervous. What if Rusty's injury was worse than she thought? When Dr. Harris arrived, he carried a large bag filled with tools and medicine. Emma followed him to the barn, where Rusty was still resting. The vet knelt down, speaking softly to the dog. "You're going to be all right, Rusty," he said. Dr. Harris carefully examined Rusty's leg, touching the wound gently but firmly. Emma watched, her hands clenched in hope. The vet cleaned the injury thoroughly and wrapped it with special bandages. "It's a bad scrape, but no bones are broken," he explained. "With good care, Rusty should heal well." Emma breathed a sigh of relief. Dr. Harris gave instructions for daily care and medicine, then smiled at Emma. "You're doing a great job, young lady. Rusty's lucky to have you." That evening, Emma sat outside under the old oak tree, her legs pulled close to her chest. Rusty lay on the blanket nearby, resting but peaceful. Emma felt a deep connection with him, as if their friendship had been meant to happen all along. Suddenly, the wind rustled the leaves overhead, and Emma smiled. This farm, her simple world, was starting to feel bigger, full of stories waiting to be told. Still, there was something else on her mind. Rusty hadn't been alone when she found him. Had other animals been out there, waiting for help? Emma wondered if there were more dogs like Rusty in need somewhere nearby. She looked up at the stars beginning to appear and whispered, "Tomorrow, I'll find out." As the night wrapped around the farm, Emma and Rusty drifted off to sleep, two friends ready to face whatever came next. Emma woke up early the next day, just as the first light of dawn brushed the sky with soft pink and orange hues. She stretched and hurried outside, eager to check on Rusty. The little dog was lying quietly on his blanket, his eyes bright and full of trust. Emma smiled, feeling a small wave of hope. But just as she was about to settle down beside him, a strange sound reached her ears. It wasn't the usual quiet chirping of birds or the soft rustle of the wind in the cornfields. This was something different, a chorus of barks coming from beyond the fence. Curious and a little puzzled, Emma stood up and moved toward the farmhouse window. She blinked in surprise. Dozens of dogs, big and small, fluffy and sleek, had gathered all around the edges of the farm. They stood quietly, tails wagging gently, their eyes fixed on the barn. Emma's heart raced. Where had all these dogs come from, and why were they here? She watched closely as the dogs stayed calm, almost as if they were waiting for something or someone. They didn't bark wildly or run around. Instead, they sat or stood still, peaceful but alert. Emma's parents joined her at the window, equally amazed. "That's a lot of dogs," her dad said, scratching his head. "We've never seen anything like this before." Emma's mom looked worried but said, "Maybe they sensed Rusty is safe here. Maybe they're looking for help." Emma felt a surge of excitement and nervousness. What if these dogs were all like Rusty, injured or lost, searching for a safe place? She wanted to run outside, to greet them all, but she hesitated. What if they were afraid? What if they didn't trust people? Rusty, now stronger, stood beside her. He gave a small bark and wagged his tail. Somehow, Emma felt he was telling her it was okay. Taking a deep breath, Emma opened the barn door slowly. The dogs didn't move. They watched her carefully. She stepped outside, keeping her voice soft and steady. "Hello," she said. "It's okay. You're safe here." One brave dog, a medium-sized golden retriever, stepped forward and sniffed the air. Emma reached out a hand, and the dog nuzzled it gently. Then another dog came closer, then another, until a small group surrounded her, tails wagging happily. Emma laughed, a bright, happy sound. "You're all welcome here," she said, looking back toward her parents. They smiled too, now understanding something incredible was happening. The dogs seemed to know this farm was a safe place, a home where kindness lived. By midday, more neighbors had heard about the dogs gathering and came to see. Some brought food and blankets. Others offered help to care for the growing group of animals. Emma stood in the middle of it all, amazed. Her simple act of helping one wounded dog had sparked something much bigger, an unexpected family of dogs who had found their way to her farm, drawn by hope and trust. As the sun set, Emma knew their lives had changed forever, and she was ready for whatever adventure lay ahead. The sun was shining brightly, but Emma felt a quiet calm settle over the farm. The dogs that had gathered the day before were still there, their eyes watching every move Emma made. Some lay in the shade, while others stood near the fence, as if guarding the farm. Emma noticed how gentle they all were. There wasn't a hint of aggression or fear. Rusty, now stronger and more confident, stayed close to Emma's side. He seemed to understand that these dogs had come for a reason, and Emma could feel it too. A connection, something almost magical. She stepped outside with slow, careful movements, speaking softly. "Hello, everyone. It's okay." The dogs responded by shifting closer, some wagging their tails, others simply sitting patiently. Emma reached down and held out her hand. At first, only a few dogs came near, sniffing her fingers. But soon, one by one, more dogs approached. A brave little terrier licked her palm, and a gentle Labrador rested his head on her knee. The dogs seemed to sense her kindness, and in return, Emma felt their trust. Her parents watched from the porch, amazed at the peaceful scene. "It's like they know she's one of them," her mom whispered. Emma nodded. She felt proud but also humbled. These dogs, who had probably known nothing but fear and loneliness, were now showing her that even the smallest act of kindness could build a bridge between worlds. The farm was beginning to feel different, alive with new energy. Emma's father brought out bowls of water and food, placing them near the dogs. Some ate eagerly, while others took their time. Emma moved among them, checking on each dog, making sure none were hurt or too scared. As the afternoon passed, Emma noticed something else. Some of the dogs were limping or had scars, much like Rusty had when she found him. It was clear that many had been living on their own, struggling to survive. Emma's heart ached, but she also felt hope. Maybe this was a chance for all of them, a new beginning. Later, the local vet, Dr. Harris, arrived with his medical bag. He had heard about the gathering of dogs and came to help. Emma watched as he carefully examined each dog, giving gentle treatments and soothing words. Most of these dogs have been living on the streets, he explained to Emma's parents, but they're healthy overall, thanks to their strength and spirit. Emma smiled. They found the farm because it's safe. Dr. Harris nodded. And because you showed them kindness. That evening, Emma sat on the porch with Rusty resting beside her. The other dogs lay nearby, calm and content. Emma looked up at the stars and felt a deep sense of peace. She knew this was just the beginning. These dogs had found their way to her, and now it was her turn to be their protector. With a gentle smile, Emma whispered, "We're in this together." The next morning, the sun poured warm light over the farm, and the dogs were already stirring. Emma woke early, excited to see how everyone was doing. She knew today was important. Dr. Harris was coming back for a full checkup and to help make sure all the dogs were safe and healthy. When the vet arrived, he carried his medical bag with practiced ease. Emma ran to meet him, her face bright with hope. "Thank you for coming," she said. "I want to make sure they're all okay." Dr. Harris smiled warmly. "Of course, Emma. You've done an amazing job caring for Rusty and all these dogs. Now, we'll make sure they get the help they need." The vet set up a small area in the barn where he could examine each dog carefully. Emma helped by calling the dogs gently and comforting those who seemed scared. Some of the dogs were shy at first, but with Emma's soothing voice, they began to relax. Dr. Harris moved from one dog to the next, checking their legs, ears, and teeth. He cleaned wounds, applied medicine, and gave soft reassurances. Emma watched closely, learning how to care for each animal. She felt proud but also determined. She wanted to do even more to help. Most of the dogs had small injuries, scratches, scrapes, and bruises from life on the streets, but nothing serious. Dr. Harris explained that their wounds were healing well, thanks to Emma's early care. "There's something special here," he told Emma's parents. "These dogs have survived tough conditions, but they found a place where they feel safe. That's rare." Emma nodded, her heart full. She knew the farm was more than just a home now. It was a sanctuary. As the vet finished, neighbors started arriving, bringing blankets, food, and supplies for the dogs. The community had heard about the farm's new visitors, and their support surprised Emma. She hadn't expected so many people to care. One neighbor, Mrs. Lobes, brought fresh bread and warm soup. "You've done a wonderful thing, Emma," she said. "This farm is a beacon of hope now." Emma smiled shyly, but felt a deep warmth inside. The kindness of others made her believe that together, they could make a difference. Throughout the day, Emma helped organize the supplies and set up spaces for the dogs to rest comfortably. She gave each dog a name, learning their unique personalities and stories. There was Max, a gentle giant with soft eyes, and Bella, a small terrier with endless energy. As evening came, Emma sat quietly with Rusty, watching the dogs settle down under the stars. The farm was alive with peaceful breathing and soft whines of comfort. Emma whispered, "We're not just saving dogs. We're building a family." She felt a new sense of purpose, knowing that with the help of her family, neighbors, and the vet, they could give these dogs a second chance at happiness. And as Rusty rested his head on her lap, Emma knew that this was only the beginning of their journey together. News about Emma's farm and the gathering of dogs spread quickly through the small town. By morning, neighbors started arriving at the farm with bags of food, blankets, and toys. Some brought medicines and homemade treats, while others came simply to offer help and share kind words. Emma felt overwhelmed but deeply grateful. What had started as her quiet effort to save Rusty had grown into something much bigger. An entire community coming together to care for these dogs in need. Her parents helped organize the donations while Emma introduced herself to each visitor, sharing stories about Rusty and the other dogs. Everyone was touched by the way the animals had found hope on the farm. The dogs wagged their tails and greeted the newcomers with gentle excitement, as if they understood the kindness that surrounded them. Mrs. Lopes, who lived just down the road, offered to help with feeding and cleaning. "I used to volunteer at the animal shelter," she explained. "I'd love to help you care for these dogs." Emma smiled, relieved and happy. With so many people pitching in, the farm felt more like a home for the dogs than ever before. Over the next few days, Emma and her family worked hard alongside the volunteers. They built cozy shelters in the barn, set up play areas in the yard, and even started a little garden where they could grow fresh herbs and vegetables for the animals. Emma loved seeing the dogs run and play, their energy returning with each passing day. Some who had once been shy or frightened began to open up, wagging their tails or nudging Emma's hand for attention. It was clear the farm was becoming a place of healing, not just for Rusty, but for all the dogs. Local newspapers picked up the story, and soon more people wanted to help. Donations came in from nearby towns, and some families expressed interest in adopting the dogs once they were healthy. Emma's heart swelled with hope. One afternoon, as Emma sat on the porch with Rusty resting beside her, she thought about how much had changed. She had always dreamed of adventures, but never imagined that helping one little dog could lead to this, a whole community united by kindness. Her parents joined her, smiling proudly. "You've started something wonderful here, Emma," her dad said. "This farm is a place of hope now." Emma looked at Rusty, who wagged his tail and licked her hand. "We did it together," she whispered. The sun began to set, painting the sky with streaks of pink and gold. Emma felt a quiet happiness settle inside her, a feeling that this was just the beginning of a new chapter, full of love, friendship, and endless possibilities. And as the dogs curled up around the farm, safe and warm, Emma knew that no matter what happened next, they would face it together as one big happy family. The days turned into weeks, and Emma's farm had truly transformed. What once was a quiet place with just a few animals had become a lively sanctuary filled with happy dogs, warm hearts, and endless hope. Rusty, the little dog who had started it all, was now healthy and full of energy. He loved running through the fields and playing with his new friends. Emma watched him with a smile, proud of how far he had come. The other dogs had found new homes too. Some were adopted by loving families from the town, while others stayed on the farm, forming a close-knit pack that looked to Emma and her family for care and guidance. Every day was full of laughter, wagging tails, and the joyful sounds of barking. Emma had learned so much, not just about caring for dogs, but about kindness, courage, and the power of community. Her simple act of helping one wounded dog had blossomed into a movement of love that touched so many lives. One bright morning, as the sun rose over the farm, Emma stood at the fence with Rusty by her side. A group of children from the town had come to visit, eager to meet the dogs and learn how to care for them. Emma showed them how to approach the animals gently, how to give water and food, and how to be patient with those still shy or nervous. Her parents watched proudly from the porch. "You've turned this farm into a place of hope," her mom said softly. "A real home for these dogs, and for everyone who loves them." Emma felt her heart swell with happiness. "It's more than a farm now," she said. "It's a family." As the children laughed and played with the dogs, Emma thought about all that had happened, From that quiet morning when she found Rusty hurt in the cornfield, to this moment filled with joy and friendship, she knew that the journey wasn't over. There would always be more dogs to help, more challenges to face. But Emma felt ready. With her family, her friends, and Rusty by her side, she knew they could make a difference. The farm had become a symbol, a reminder that even small acts of kindness could change the world. As the sun set behind the hills, casting a golden glow over the fields, Emma whispered to Rusty, "This is just the beginning." And together, they looked forward to all the adventures still to come.